Hello and welcome. My name is Fake Fairy Tale and this is a new Let's Build series. Now, I haven't come up with a name just yet. I'll probably think of something while we progress. But the idea of this Let's Build series is to go underground. First of all, I received a few questions about how to do caves and underground sections, so I want to show you how I go about making those. Basically, you have two methods for that, but we'll dive into that in a little bit. And I want to add a dungeon room, a place where we can have a cool encounter going. I'm not entirely sure if I want to put that in the same map, but we'll see where we get it. The first thing, however, that I do want to do is make a cave system underground, have a few larger rooms, a few hallways, and a few or tunnels, and an element of water in there somewhere, and we'll work our way from there. I don't really have a plan about how it's gonna look. I will try to make it just look very organic. It's something that I find very important anyway, and we'll see where we end up with the map. Of course, I'll make the map available at the end, so if you want to use it, download it. I'll add the Dungeondraft files as well, so that you can go nuts if you want to. Now, without further ado, we have two styles of making cliff walls in Dungeondraft. If you're using the Forgotten Adventure assets, that's important. Because if you use the regular assets, you have a cave tool. And I have actually, let's see if I can dig it up somewhere, the cave brush, here we go. And it makes walls for you automatically. Right now, this works only with the textures from Megasprout and from Dungeondraft itself, so you can't really use custom assets for this. However, another option is, and as I like to use the Forgotten Adventure assets, that's what I'm going to resort to right now as well, are pathways. And pathways can be all kinds of shapes, like you've already seen me do in previous videos. But we can use this to create a cool looking tunnel. However, the problem with this is that if you're making sharp turns, and let's zoom in, you can see that there's artifacting around the edges. And if you're zoomed out a little bit, that's not that much of an issue. You can always have like very strange things like this happen, overlapping shadows as well. So it's not ideal. There we go. Here you can see it very well, which is a problem. Another problem here is that they don't block light either. So if you're using the built-in light tool, the light just goes right through. There's something that you can do to prevent that. I'll show you guys later. Alternatively, we have the cave assets, which are objects. And these objects are pre-made cave walls, and these are, because they're pre-made, look much better without weird artifacting going on anywhere. So they're much easier to use. A very great tip when using these kind of object caves and cave walls is to keep the snap to grid turned on, because that way you can align them much easier. There we go. You can make pillars and have them just connect to each other. Also, you have a lot more bends and corners, quite sharp. You have some different options, also pieces of wall that blow over into a cave wall. And see what we have here, like these sharp corners, or these. And these are ones I do often like to use when making a bunch of caves. So I am going to do that now as well. We'll put them on layer 700 and we'll start to make a general layout. My idea is that people come in from the bottom left, and we'll see how we'll guide them through the cave system. And we'll just use all these kinds of different assets to make an interesting looking cave system. Now, important to note is that we want to keep everything on skill 1, make sure that it aligns properly with itself. And let's see if we can just make something interesting here. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because this is basically just puzzling it everything together. I'll keep my recording on so that you guys can watch the time lapse and see how I progress. So I like the shape. I like the shape that we puzzled together here. I just went through all the kinds of walls that we have here. We also have some pillars, by the way. I decided to use one and just click together a nice cave. I like how you have some bigger areas here. We have the dungeon area over to the top left. I will just make another map. I decided that in the meanwhile, where we can create a cool combat encounter. I'll also explain a bit why I do specific things and how I design the combats, and perhaps give you some monsters, etc. to work with as well. Now, the first two things that we need to do here is add in some textures. The first being cave ground, because that's what we want to have through most of the dungeon or most of the cave system here. Cave floor, there we go. Thought it was in there somewhere. Now we'll use a different texture to fill in the insides of the cliffs, and I like to use a texture called terrain for that. It's quite neutral and it has some kind of sandy texture. I can't really describe it, but if you apply it, yeah, you see. I think this works quite well as the inside of a rock. You can, of course, always go for something that's a bit more rocky. Like, I think we have some stone textures. But we want to keep it quite dark. Rock D, that could work. In the end, it doesn't really matter that much what you do. So we'll just fill that all over the place. We'll make sure that we don't go out of bounds. And keep it all neatly between the lines. There we go. Can put it a bit faster with a larger brush. We're just going to paint the whole terrain. Now, additionally, something that I like to do is to break up the texture of the cave flooring somewhat. We can use a variety of different rocks for that. We're going to have to see whatever looks good. And we're going to add in some water, because one of the main issues I often have with making caves, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's actually so hard to do so, is it's quite boring. I mean, a cave is a cave. There are a lot of rocks around, but if it's not habited by anything, then there's generally speaking not much to see. And that's a problem, because in many campaigns, for example in mine, cave systems are a great source for a dungeon or an artifact that lies deep down, hidden away somewhere. So we're going to have to think of a way to make things look interesting. And one of the things that we can do is apply a texture in there that will break up the pattern and see what we can think up when we go through the list. I wanted to actually blend with the cave floor, so it shouldn't be too bright, but it also should be something different than the rock, the inside rock that we already have. So if we, for example, take rock 2, no, those are way too big. So we'll have to continue searching for a little bit of different textures. Well, that's not working. Marble, not what I'm looking for either. This could be very cool for in the dungeon, actually. But still not what we want. So we're gonna go a bit further down. There we have the rock again, a rock with dirt. That's always quite too brownish. Maybe I actually should make that rock D. And then we'll make rock D terrain A. All the way down. Awesome. There we go. And I have to mix it up a little bit. Gonna apply some around water. I'll just rapid click a bit through here. That's too much. It doesn't have to be that much. We'll just use it a little bit. Left and right. So, awesome. Okay, we want some stone flooring here as well, so we'll add in something that can work there. That was not what I wanted to do. Some of this flagstone, that could work, but I think I want to go for a pattern perhaps and just add in some tiling. Like these, very dirty. Yeah, that's fine. And then as a terrain, we can have some overlapping going on here. Just a little bit, like it, there's some stone showing through. All right, I'll continue filling all this up with the textures that we've chosen, and then we'll continue with some water, change some textures here and there because I don't like the blending that much. Maybe soft blending here actually is an option, but I'll play around with it a little bit and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. All right, and I'm back again. Now I want to add in some water, I think over here in this area. And I think I want to have it seep away or flow in through this side and have it divide the room up into, not entirely into two, but have it be like something in this shape. Quite large, sufficiently large to have something spring out of it, sprawl out of it. Alright, I'm back again. I encountered some sort of technical issue. Of course, that's Dungeondraft for you, but oh well. When I try to unlock 4 more slots at the moment, it messes up my textures. So I'm not gonna. I'll keep that turned off. And we'll just change up these textures for something different. Just do it like so. We'll add in some rubble over there. We'll use this as water. And then I think we should be in the clear. I don't think we need much more than 4. I don't think we need any more. We can go for either water still or water calm. It's always a bit of a... I think we're gonna go for water still. Don't want much of a river or stream or flow of water in here, so maybe we can actually even add in some sort of little bridge somebody made. Make a little encampment. Plenty of things we can do here anyway. So we'll add in the water. And we can still play around a little bit with what color water we want it to be. And if you're running this as a DM, you could also have the rule that there's some sort of cave system going underneath here leading to another map. I think that could actually be quite neat and a fun thing to do. And let's take that square as well. There we go. Give it a bit of an odd shape because that looks cool and less conventional. And we'll add in a ribbon around here. And I am mildly in doubt which one that is going to be, though I think I want to add not this one, but there is a ridge. There we go. Let's turn off snap to grid and have this indicate that there is that it's lower. We'll adjust the water accordingly to just on the edge of it. And then we'll place another ribbon on top, which will help it blend all the water and the rock ribbon together. So for that we want to use, let me see. That's better. The problem with this one is, however, that it does not blend perfectly well with the water that's in here at the moment. We don't want it to overlap either. So let's make it even smaller. Just follow along the edge of the water and the ridge. Let's zoom in here. We might have to make a few adjustments. And make sure that it's a bit more jaggedy than what we have here. Not too much though, because you can get these artifacts really easily when using this pathway. And I want to prevent that as much as possible. If we can blend it in a little bit more further. And I see some artifacting here as well. So we're going to use the edit points. To take that out. Straighten it up a little bit. See, like these places where it's really severe. We just try and get it out, but it's not easy. And it just doesn't work perfectly, but we can place some rocks over there as well. Make sure that we hide it up a little bit. I think that looks all right. Now let's see what we can do with the water texture. Perhaps water still is not the perfect fit. We could also have the water green, water calm green. I think that blends a bit better with the ribbon that we're using. So let me check that quickly. Yeah, that is better, I think. Make sure that we don't forget any. We'll add the ribbon somewhere else as well. Now I'm looking at this. I think I made the initial ribbon too thick. So let me quickly clean this all up. I'm going to add in some water ribbon around the sides as well. And I'll be back with you again in a few minutes. All right, and we're back again. I think this already looks much better. I blended it in with a shadow pathway as well to indicate that the water is lower than the surrounding ridge around the water. And I think we have quite a neat start for a map. So I would like to end this video here. If you liked the video, please hit the like, favorite or subscribe button. And we'll continue onwards with filling up the cave with rocks and other interesting things in the next video. So thanks for watching and see you soon.